So we're going to play a game. All microphones and videos are open. You can jump in and answer, or you can chat, whichever you prefer to do. So you get to tell me what the skill is that the interview is really looking for. I'm not looking for your answer to the question. I want you to tell me what you think they're looking for in terms of soft skills, because this is all about the soft skills. Tell me about a time you had to help your team adjust to a new process. Now, maybe you haven't had this particular situation to where now there's a new process. Maybe they just adopted a new EDC system. Maybe they went from paper TMF to electronic TMF. Maybe they changed from metadata to inform or something else. But you get the gist of it. Right now, that's where you're looking kind of at the answer or the question in general. I don't want the answer to the question. I want you to tell me, what do you think that interviewer is trying to assess? What do you think they're looking for in your skills here?
Susan, would this be my site team? Is
Could
that
be.
what you're asking here?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it could be. Yeah, any type of situation to where you've had to have your team adjust to a new process. Could be a new software system. It could be a new way for patient recruitment. It could be even a new project in general that you guys have picked up.
Yeah, Pauline says they're looking for a strategic approach, collaboration,
Hmm.
awareness of people's different working styles, and ability to pull them together.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, Tammy says how you can work with your team and collaborate with them.
Yep, absolutely. You guys are in the right wheelhouse. Did you exhibit leadership? Did you foster teamwork? Your ability to give direction, teaching new process? Absolutely. Yeah. How flexible were you? It's like, oh my God, we've done it this way all for like the last decade. Why in the world would we change that now? Right. So, how flexible were you? Were you adaptable? Were you adaptable? Maybe you didn't lead the change. Maybe you were just like, okay, I'm going to adapt to this because somebody high, at a higher pay scale than me feels like this is a good thing for us to do. Let's go figure out how to make it work. Right. Maybe that's it. Maybe you're the cheerleader. It's whatever your natural being is that you're trying to exhibit in this example, but adaptability is really key. Hiring managers are looking for someone to be helpful in times of change, individuals that can adapt to different personalities, foster collaborative work environment. You guys nailed it. Folks who volunteer to help other team members. You guys see where the hiring manager is. These questions are more than just an answer. It's about what they're looking for in your capabilities from a soft skill perspective. Describe a situation where you had to solve a difficult problem. And again, I'm not looking for the answer to the problem or the actual situation. What do you think the hiring manager or interviewer is looking for if they ask you to describe a situation where you had to solve a difficult problem? Okay.
Tammy, yeah,
Okay.
says, can you critically think? Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And Susan says, the star, the STAR that we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Pauline says, being calm under pressure.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm. And Maria says, communication skills.
Excellent. Yeah, excellent. This is really about seeing how your brain works when you're analyzing the problem and then trying to come up with a solution. A lot of times, hiring managers want to know how you go about making decisions. Some people have a very difficult time making decisions, but we all know clinical research, most of the roles within clinical research, you got to make choices every single day, right? And so, how do you go about making those choices? Some are easy, some are not. So, if it's a complex problem, how do you go about gathering the data that you need to gather in order to make an effective decision? And also, not just for you, but for the team in general. Right. And communication, absolutely critical. How to, throughout the whole process, how you gather the data and how you solve the problem. Don't forget to discuss the outcome too. The star answer is absolutely perfect. All of those types of things, but it's really about your analytical and problem solving. So now let's look at this one. Tell me what you've learned about our company. And while you guys are thinking about this, I ask everyone this question on my back office team. It's really more, actually, it's a little bit of a trick. I ask them, have you reviewed our website? Everyone always says yes, but everyone is not always truthful. Of course, I reviewed your website, Angela. And so then I go, great. Tell me what resonated with you about what we do. What do you think I'm looking for?
I can vouch for this. I've been in these interviews. She definitely asked this question for all of our team members.
It's important. And I think you should expect every hiring manager to say, hey, why do you want to work here? It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, Tammy says it shows how interested you are in the company and if you're
Hmm.
willing to research things. Two very good points.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent points.
It shows if you can be truthful, if you actually did show that you did read up about the company and whether you're passionate about them, because they do want someone not just who's qualified, but who is passionate to work there and will stay.
I love
Hmm.
that answer, and you're absolutely right. Because I will tell you right now, if someone is honest enough to say, no, I haven't had time, and I don't want to berate them, but I'm thinking to myself, how many applications have you applied to? And how many interviews did you get? You take 30 minutes to take a look at our website. I mean, how do you know you want to work for me if you don't know what the heck we do? I mean, how do you even have any idea, right? And I absolutely agree. I want to hire people who want to work in our environment. They know what we do and they're passionate about it. And I think the only way you're going to be able to have that real honest conversation about growth within the company and what your day to day looks like is to know what the company's focus is. And this is really key.
Yeah, and to Maria's point, she says learning about the company's goals. Absolutely. You want to make sure that resonates with you as well.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah, Susan says she reviews the website extensively and then looks at clinicaltrials.gov, an excellent resource. Then
Yep.
I explain what I can bring to the company because what we have in common and my passion matches their passion.
Love it. That's absolutely perfect. And what this shows is ultimately it's an attention to detail question, but to Pauline's point, it's about a do you really want to work here question. I mean, is it your passion about the industry or the company or whatever? Detail focused people will research the company and role before the interview. And if I'm asking this question, I want to know, A, do they care about me? Are they looking for a career with me and my company, or they just need a job, a journey over broke, a job? I much prefer to have someone who wants a career with me rather than just a job, because they're two different approaches to your day to day whenever you're looking for a career and you've got that passion for it. Are you serious enough about us to have researched it? Were you thorough? Do you understand what you saw? Because my following question with that is, did you have any questions about what we do? Because sometimes they get it and sometimes they don't. But if they're not sure, did they ask enough questions to get clarity on it?
Oh, V, absolutely. We're so glad this is helpful. Yeah, and how not to have anxiety overload and to critically think of the questions. Yeah, I love the way Angela does this. It kind of makes you look at it from their perspective, and that is super valuable.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, so now let's talk about the next one. Describe a situation where you had a miscommunication with somebody. And again, we're not looking for, oh my God, I had this really horrible argument with my husband last night. It's not, I'm not looking for the situation here. I'm looking for what do you think that the hiring manager is looking for whenever you describe this?
V says accountability.
I love that.
V also says you made a mistake, misunderstood, but you owned up and corrected it.
Hmm.
And Maria says your ability to problem solve.
True.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the accountability statement. I think a lot of times people forget that communication is two ways. You've got the individual that's sending and the individual that's receiving. Both parties are responsible for both parts. So if I'm sending you a message, it's my responsibility to make sure you're understanding that message, asking questions, making sure you're clear. On the flip side, if you're receiving that message and you're not clear, it's your responsibility to go back to the sender and ask for clarification. If you aren't accountable to your part of the communication, then this is all about accountability. Of course, it's about communication skills and language skills and all of that type of thing, but it's all about accountability. And I think that's really, really important. Every interview question is going to highlight your communication skills. Heck, when you walk into that room or join that video, your communication abilities are on display because of your verbal communication skills. Are you waving your hand? Are you touching your face? Are you real nervous? Are you looking down? Are you looking over? I mean, what are you doing? But the verbal communications are really important as well, and making sure you're clear earlier, don't answer a question if you don't know what the question means. Miscommunication is going to happen. So the hiring manager is looking for accountability. Absolutely. B, you nailed it. Good. So, okay. Tell me about a circumstance when you took on extra responsibility without being asked to do so. Tell me about a circumstance when you took on extra responsibility without being asked. I mean, obviously, you're going to share the scenario with the hiring manager, but what is that hiring manager looking for?
I think they're looking for whether you're a person that works together within a team with overlapping, or if you're a person that just does their job and passes the buck.
I love that. You're absolutely right. Because you can have your part and that be the end of it, but maybe you see that other parts need to be done too, and you're just like, that's not my job. I'm not going to do that. I don't really have to worry about
Hmm.
that. Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah, and Pauline says it shows initiative and that you're proactive.
Hmm.
V says someone who is willing to work as a team player. Absolutely. Susan says, again, yep, looking for a team player. Yep.
Agreed. Yeah. What we're looking for is, are you someone that's going to see a need and just go do it? I love people who want to take initiative, because it just means that they see that there's a void and they either just go do it or they say, hey, look, I see that there's an issue here. Here's what I would propose as a solution. And as a business owner myself, I'm looking for team members that will just jump in and do that type of thing. I need team members to correct me. I need team members who are able and willing to say, you know what, I think we got a problem here. Let's go talk about it. Right? It's that above and beyond attitude. And it's the thing I love about it too is individuals who take that initiative they don't give up when the going gets tough, because they have a vision of what it should look like and what it should be and what the team should be doing to function efficiently. And they're just going to keep working at it because they care. There's a caring aspect of it. So,
Hmm. And remember, you want to communicate your value every opportunity you can get. So, what makes you more valuable than the other CRA on your team is that you do jump in, you do volunteer, you do help more junior CRAs, you do take on extra things when you can, not to let things slip through the cracks for what you're currently doing.
yes.
Don't take on more than you can handle. That's a big negative. You want to be able to add things to your plate as you can to make sure you can do everything well, but you want to make sure that if it comes down to you and the person next to you, that you can be the ultimate value add. You'll prove yourself more valuable than the person next to you. That is really important every chance you get.
Yeah, and I love the point that you made is don't volunteer to the point to where your core role is you're now missing deadlines because you've overcommitted. That's not good. You don't want to overcommit. But I agree with you, Becky. I think, all things equal, if you're the one that's really raising your hand and showing initiative, it is a huge win for the team and for your career progression as
Mhm.
well. Relate a situation where you effectively delegated a project. And maybe it wasn't the whole project. Maybe it was just that you delegated some components of a project. So what are we looking for here? What are we looking for in what am I looking for if I say, tell me about a time where you delegated something? What am I really looking for? Project management skills. I think
Mhm.
that's a really key one. And if you're looking at a perspective of an overlying project, you're responsible for making sure tasks get done. You're the one that owns everything getting done, but that doesn't necessarily make you the doer of everything. And I think sometimes owner and doer gets confused. I have this conversation with my team all the time, don't I, Becky?
Yes.
Is you might own the whole reference process, but that doesn't mean you have to do every step within the reference process. Or you might own the fraud detection process, but that doesn't mean you have to do every step in the process. So what does that mean? That means you have to know when to delegate.
Yeah, Pauline asks, can you step above individual contribution and understand the work and processes that are most effective?
True. Absolutely. Yeah,
Hmm.
prioritization, isn't it? And often delegation really does mean is I've got these other things that are more important. So let me look at the overall work and processes and how to make things most effective. Maybe you're given something that's and let me know if I'm misunderstanding you, but if I'm looking at Lean and Six Sigma, maybe I'm delegating something that someone at a lower skill can do. It gives them a growth opportunity while I'm handling something different than only I can do. You can look at it that way too.
Yeah, Maria says it shows leadership skills and assessment of coworkers' abilities, just to your point, Angela.
Love it. Every hiring manager will assess leadership skills during the interview, regardless of the role. right? And you're showing leadership whenever you delegate. In this question, the interviewer wants to know how you manage your time and priorities. You guys nailed it. And are you confident raising your hand saying, I can't do it all? I tell everyone that joins my team, I'm going to give you more than you can handle. And I'm going to wait for you to raise your hand and say, Uncle, I need, because we all work remotely, and I need to know that you're going to raise your hand if you need help. And if I don't have that level of comfort, then I don't know really what I can trust you to do or not do. And are you sliding things under the rug? So I purposely give more than they can handle until I know that they're going to raise their hands. I want to know how they handle their priorities. I want to know when they delegate. I want to know when they're ready to ask for help. Those are traits that I find very valuable in team members.
Yeah, Susan says it shows that you can be a person that can give people motivation to help you out
Mhm.
or help the team out, and that can make them feel really special. Another good point.
Love it. And you know what? You are now fostering their growth. And it's so important, isn't it? You're giving them that opportunity. But here's the thing, you want to make sure that you're still managing the situation to ensure proper completion. So you don't say, Harvonia, I'm going to have you do this for me. Okay, sweetheart, let me know how that works out for you. And then that's it. I don't ever find out, did you do it? Did you get it turned in? Is it proper quality? Is it, all of those types of things? I think is very important. So good. Okay. Tell me about a time when you were forced to make an unpopular decision.
Mm.
You had to make a decision that you knew other people were not going to be happy with. What do you think? And maybe you've had this experience or maybe you haven't, but what do you think the interviewer is really looking for here?
Yeah, while others are typing in their answer, I might throw out maybe a little how you can handle with conflict resolution that might come up, or conflict management that might come up as a result of having to communicate or make an unpopular decision. It could be the after effects of having to make that unpopular decision and enforce it, perhaps.
Yep. That
Yeah.
is really a key point. And I think there's a we dropped a podcast not too long ago that spoke a lot about the fact that conflict management is not the same thing as conflict avoidance.
Hmm.
But whenever you're having to make this kind of a decision, there's going to be an outcome, and you are going to have to deal with some type of conflict. But Maria had said ability to adapt and problem solve, and I like V. I like your point too about the ability to handle difficult situations because if you're put into a situation to where you're forced to make an unpopular decision, how are you looking at it? Because if you're trying to run for homecoming queen, you're going to choose the solution that most people are going to agree with. But does that mean it's the right solution for the business? Right? Is it the right solution for the project? And whenever I work with IBM, sometimes we would put hundreds of thousands of dollars into projects and all of this bandwidth and manpower, and everybody would just eat, sleep, and breathe these projects. And then all of a sudden they would decide to shut it down. Well, why are you shutting it down? We look at all the dedication and focus because whenever you look at what we've accomplished and the amount of investment that it has taken for us to get this far, and then the amount of investment that it would take for us to continue it versus buying something off the shelf, we've had to make a decision to shut this project down. It's not a favorable decision. You had hundreds of people that were living it every day, but it was the right thing to do for a business. Layoffs. How many people do you think really love layoffs, right? Including the individuals that are having to have the layoff discussion from a management perspective. But 9 times out of 10, those layoffs have to happen to keep the company viable. They're horrible choices to make. Definitely not something a lot of people want to hear about, but there always has to be for the bigger picture.
And
Um,
yeah,
Go
to
ahead.
Susan's point, she said that's exactly what Susan's saying, to let them see the positive of the unpopular decision and that in the
Hmm.
end it may make things easier even though it's a change. So to be able to explain the rationale and make sure that you can communicate the decision-making process and the pros and the cons and you're not just delivering bad news, but you're explaining it, that can help as well, especially in a layoff situation.
Yeah, exactly. And you show how you took the facts and made the decision. But here's the key, you guys. You gotta own it. What I don't want to hear is, well, my boss is telling me I had to lay 10% off, and you guys, I fought tooth and nail. Don't really want to have this discussion with you, but I got to. That is not the right approach, right? You've got to be able to really have the right answer to as you know, our company's going through da 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 da. Unfortunately, it was decided that 10% was da da. This was the reason why you were one of my choices. I'm so sorry. I mean, you got to be very clear and take accountability for the decision that you had to make. It's okay to say, I don't like the fact that I had to make this decision, but I had to make it. But you want to own it too. I think ownership as well. So, so when was the last time? Oh, so here's another one too. With that being said, answer me this. When was the last time you broke the rules? Because I've done this too. I definitely have gone rogue on more than one occasion. Becky can attest to that too. When is it okay to break the rules? So when is it that you can go back? Because when I work with IBM, one of the last times that we got that mandate of give me a list of 10% of your team members because we're going to have to do a layoff, I actually put my name on the list. I was like, I'm so tired of having these discussions, right? So you break the rules in some ways, and so we can have that discussion of when was the last time you broke the rules? And I've already given you the answer because we are running out of time, but your interview wants to assess your understanding of boundaries. And she wants to see if you will disagree as appropriate. I want my team to disagree with me if it makes sense to do so. I embrace that as long as it's a professional disagreement. I'm not always right. And I think interviewers are going to want to know that you have that confidence, but you're going to handle it professionally as well. So, key takeaways: behavioral interviewing is not about perfect stories. This life, this time on earth is not perfect. Don't put lipstick on a pig, y'all. This is not the time for that in a behavioral interview. You want to be honest, you want to be transparent, you want to share details, but you want to show your soft skills. You want to think about what it is that they're asking for. But keep the examples positive, but make sure you turn them real by sharing what you've learned about it and what the positive outcome was. Now, last question. What is the one thing that you would do differently in your next interview prep? You guys answer me that. What is, based off today's discussion, what is the one thing that you would do differently the next time you go to prepare for an interview?
Pauline says, prepare more. Yes. Read the company website in depth. Yeah, a lot of people miss that step. They
They
think
do.
that the interviewer already assumes you've done that. But if you haven't, that'll give you a lot of gold in what you can talk about to make sure that you align with them and sprinkle that in throughout your interview, even if they don't ask for it specifically. And Maria says, listen more to understand the interviewer and their perspective. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So while you guys think of any other questions you might have, my
Yeah,
difficult.
Harvonia says, think of my difficult situations in my work career and be prepared to explain what happened, what my role was, and what I learned. Yeah, the full
Love it.
story.
Yeah, love it. You guys, hiring managers want to hire you. They just want to know you first. It really is a first date. I tell people that all the time. If you think an interview is a dog and pony show, you're approaching it the wrong way. It should be like a barista lunch date. Sit down with a cup of coffee, have a real honest discussion with them, talk about what you know, and let them talk about what they know, see where you guys have alignment, and see if you guys can partner together as far as a work relationship is concerned.
Yeah, and Pauline says her takeaway is to take a second to think about the question before answering rather than diving right away into trying to answer, right? You might miss the nuance of what the question was really about.
Mhm.
Yeah, Harvonia, absolutely. Thank you all so much for attending. This has been wonderful.
And you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate your time today.